Greetings and welcome to the Prime Directive. I'm your host, Jeffico, and my co-host is always Chris. Say hi, Chris.
Hello.
So, we got this episode of Strange New Worlds, where in one episode they told a better story about the war than the entire season of Discovery.
Oh my god. I wasn't even going to talk about it from that angle, but yes, this episode was phenomenal, extremely impactful. And I am so happy that after this many years, there is still good Star Trek to be told.
Yeah, they had a lot of layers in this, and I really enjoyed that. And I like the happy Klingon that did nothing wrong.
Oh my god. Yeah, we can talk about him all day. That character was fascinating, and they just didn't give you everything from him. Like, you still had to guess at his feelings and his motivations and what was going on in there.
Yeah, he was just like so calm and zen, and then you spilled some coffee on his hand, and he's just like, I'm okay. It's like, is he gonna try and kill somebody? They're making him out to be this big butcher, but then we find out maybe not so much. Who is the hardest one to kill? The cloth?
Captain's log, stardate 1875.4. The Enterprise has arrived at the Prospero system for a rendezvous with the Kelsey May in order to pick up a special...
Big Mbanga episode.
Yep.
I think we're getting Chapel and Spock wrapped up next episode.
Okay.
Unfortunately. But he was doing some good boyfriend things in here.
Yeah. Well, he got a little pissy with her at the end. Wasn't about you, Spock.
Like I've been trying to tell you, I just need some personal time.
I understand. You require personal time away from me.
Relationships are hard. Especially when you're from another culture, on another planet, and you're kind of engaged. Yeah. Where do you want to start, Chris?
Where do we want to start?
Clint Howard?
Clint Howard. So Clint Howard was in this, and I just loved the performance. I loved that casting. I thought he was great. Like, that was just a fantastic personality to beam down into in the middle of this horrible war. Like, he's positive, but he's also realistic, and he's just kind of done with it all.
He's like, I'm chief medical officer, but really, Mbanga does everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just here for show and sarcasm.
Christine Chapel, welcome to Jagal.
Commander Martinez, thank you.
Everyone calls me Buck.
Okay.
Whatever you need, we probably don't have it, but ask anyway. I'll run it up the flagpole and see if it quacks.
Want to try the biobed? Doesn't work.
Yeah. No, I think that was a great example of using humor to cope with trauma, which is pretty common in fields like that where you're dealing with death every day.
Yeah. I really liked that they would put people in a pattern buffer.
With a little, it was a little bit of a preview of what Mbanga's going to end up doing with his daughter, and we just get our trolley problem right there, and Mbanga's just like, nope.
Yeah.
That's the correct answer. We are here to do it.
It was cold, it was harsh, and it was necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was a heavy scene. That was a heavy scene.
Which I really liked.
Yeah.
The transport buffer. Alvarado's in there. If we purge the logs, he'll die.
Pattern deleted. Power restored.
So we've been getting these like Chapel and Mbanga like sidekick episodes where they're just off on their own adventure, and like we really got to see like what brought them together. This was their first meeting, right? So
Yes.
yeah, no, I really enjoyed the episode. No, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, watching how the crew react, especially the ones that were in the war, like Erica, like Uhura, it's just like
Peace.
Peace sounds great. He sounds great. Why do you guys not like him? He's great.
Yeah. I really liked Chapel's line just sort of in the middle, and it was just a little thing, but it's like she said, why is it so hard to explain to people who weren't there? Because you have such this radical difference in perception from people like Ortegas and Mbanga and Chapel, and then there's Uhura, who's enthusiastic about this, and Pike, who is full Boy Scout this episode. One of the really interesting things in this episode was it sort of showed the flaws or the limitations of characters like Pike, and it felt so empty. and just so blunted his conversation with Mbenga at the very end. Just being like, that's what we have rules and tribunals for, and it's just so not enough.
Yeah.
But Pike felt so, or at least his position felt so weak. But it's the same Pike that we've always seen. And he's not perfect. He's not equipped to deal with this situation very well.
Even if he had secrets, there's due process. That's why we have tribunals.
The diplomatic corps knew who he was, and they still let him represent the Federation.
The Federation believes everyone deserves a second chance.
What about justice?
Maybe it's just because there were seasons and seasons upon developing Picard, but like, I think you would have got a little bit more out of Picard, where like he'd be hitting you from like, these are the rules, but like I understand like this. Where Pike was just like, these are the rules.
And it sort of reminded me maybe of when Worf just like bounced off the Enterprise to kill the Duras guy and came back, and he's like, technically in my culture it was fine, and Picard was like ready to hand it to him.
He's like, yeah, but we agreed. He took the comm badge off. So watching that guy go around the racked Geno, it seems like we've got better than just food trays made of Play-Doh coming out.
Yeah, the replicator situation is a bit off and on, but they'd already shown us replication and Discovery, I guess. So, I guess that's where we're going.
Breaking rules, whatever.
Yeah. One thing that actually we picked up on really early is when they were doing the flashbacks to the killing of those Klingon officers. Like apparently, who's the butcher of Jagal or whatever. You can see it's a human doing it in a Starfleet uniform. Like even before this whole plot line's been established.
Yeah.
So we saw that early and we were like, what the heck is this? What's going on here?
Yeah, I liked whether he was or not Section 31.
No, he wasn't. I was really happy that they didn't make him Section 31. He was just basic ass special
forces. Well, he had a black
forces.
uniform on, so it's hard to tell if he had a black combat.
No, it's totally fine. I was very happy with that.
But they were like, yeah, we need your serum, which was brought up again, and we got a little bit more information on that it was just he that made it, and like he didn't make it for people unless he wants to. But yeah, like that was so well done, because it's like, oh, I need you to help us, and then it's like no, and then they go and it fucking goes south.
Yeah.
The kid that he liked and like saved like goes and gets himself killed, and it's just like so much weight on that actor to perform, and it was so well done. And like, I don't know, any criticisms of this episode, like, man, like this was deep.
Yes.
And like him just snapping back, I'm going to end this, and it's like, but you're a doctor. But I'm the only one that can.
Yeah.
You're going out there.
Someone has to finish the mission.
Jagal is burning. We are all leaving. The convoy's warping in.
You can use this to find me.
That was phenomenal, and I am so interested in the character of the ambassador here, and like what are his motivations? What is he actually thinking? Because I don't think he gives a shit about peace at all.
He's just like, plush life, I'm just gonna enjoy this, and like take me away from war, because like actually I'm a shitty fighter anyways.
Like, I think that he is just a total narcissist. He is only about status and how things reflect on him. And he had this high status being a general or whatever in the Klingon War, and that he couldn't have that anymore, after all his staff got killed and he bravely ran away. You can't be an honorable high status person in Klingon culture if that's what's happened. So he sort of starts or allows this rumor to start that he killed his own men because they were just, there's just too many war crimes and I couldn't have it be allowed anymore, even though that was his order.
And you both know my pain all too well. Those were difficult times. After what happened on Athos, my ideals shifted. The fighting was without merit.
Then he can defect to the Federation, because the Federation fucking loves that shit. The Federation's made of a bunch of Captain Pikes, and they're like, oh look, an opportunity for redemption, and he's learned, and he's gonna be better.
That's a lot of Pike hatred here today, Chris.
Yeah. No, this episode was, I think that was like pretty powerful, how they were willing to show the limitations of the ideology of the captain, because he doesn't fit here. He does not fit in this episode, and I really
felt like
that.
It ended with like almost saying like, hey, guess what, M'Benga, like, you're not long for this show.
Yeah, that might explain why he's not CMO. Like, this might come back to bite them all. So the only way that the ambassador can get that status that he needs people to love him and respect him. He needs to be important. He even says, people need saints. He sees himself as that. Like, it's this total narcissism. And he's like, okay, so I can join the Federation and get the status that way. He doesn't actually care that he's pursuing peace or pursuing war. He's pursuing status. And,
it's an interesting character that, like, had it been like more of a main character and you saw it play out over a season, like, that'd be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna argue how they took him out.
Yeah, and they intentionally keep it vague, like the actual death is behind the screen or whatever. And I don't think, I really don't even think we're supposed to think that it was anything but M'Benga killing him. But they left it visually open to interpretation a bit.
I said no.
Don't be stupid. You're a war criminal. Can't you see it? Get your hands off. So selfish, so human. Don't!
M'Benga had a chest full of stuff from the war, and it's just like, oh, here's the Klingon dagger with the Klingons I killed.
Mm-hmm.
That works so perfectly because he like kills him with his own dagger, and it's just like, hey, he had a dagger, and it shows that he killed all those guys.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the perfect like framing of it.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, he's allowed to bring on the dagger on board. Like, does it show up in the transporter? Like,
I guess not. It's just a piece of metal. It's not like a phaser or something that might trigger that.
Maybe he had some in his shoes, some in his armor, and he put it together.
Yeah, maybe he did that.
Yeah.
But even at the end, like M'Benga's begging him to leave him alone. Just stop. And this is the first person that I think the ambassadors run into that he can't just bully around with kindness. Like, he's just like, no, it's okay, Captain, I've heard worse. I'm so put upon by all this, but I'm a bigger person. And he's gunning for all this sympathy, and he wants you to feel bad for him. I don't think he talked about other people's feelings in the entirety of the episode. I think it was always about him. He talked about, like his trauma from Chagall or whatever. And, even when he's saying he did it for like the nameless millions. It's just, he's so separated from what other people think and feel.
Yeah.
It's about manipulation.
It's a good bad character.
No, it's incredibly compelling, and I'm almost glad we didn't get more of him, because there's all this mystery space that you can look into. And I'm just so interested in that character's motivations. And what did he feel about all this?
Yeah.
How can we represent a federation that believes in peace if we say some people aren't allowed to make up for their past?
I agree with you in the abstract, but the people he hurt, some of them right here in this crew, might not find forgiveness so easily.
Other than that, I mean, even number one was toned company wine.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting to see M'Benga's like conflict of, we gotta go help out our captain. It's like, no, we should sit this one out. And it's like, no, it's our duty to help out Chris. And like, so they got that bond, but like, that bond needed to be stronger at the end. Because, again, Pike is missing some qualities there. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I mean, fantastic episode. It's so much of the discussion around this episode I'm seeing framed around whether what M'Benga did was right or wrong. And I don't even think that's the point of the episode. I think the point of the episode is the discussion around it. I don't know if there can be a black and white answer to what M'Benga did. And I think like at their conversation at the end, he sort of talks about, is this about what I did or when I did it? Would it have been wrong to do this a few years ago? Why is it wrong now? He still did the same things. He's the same person.
Klingon deceased.
The knife belongs to the Butcher of Jagal, right?
Starfleet records tell us.
The DNA belongs to the 3 warlords he killed.
And I checked the logs, tracked movements. They corroborate the timeline.
Even Chapel's cover and form at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I heard some criticism of, but, no, you have your person's back.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And yeah, they're right. This isn't the perfect Starfleet officer thing. This is...
Yeah, we haven't hit TNG yet.
We
just came fresh out of a war.
Yeah, this is DS9's TNG.
Yeah.
And, there's... I don't even know if you want that person to continue walking around representing the Federation. What's going to happen when he gets... Because I don't trust his motivations at all.
Hey, take a look. You just brought it up. Take a look at Cisco, man. He was willing to do some terrible stuff to get Eddington. He did some questionable things for the war. Could he live with it? Yeah. Computer delete log.
Delete log. Yeah, this is the same idea. And this... I don't know if I can say it's my favorite episode in a season that had a crossover with Lower Decks, but I think I'll say it's the best. I think this is the best episode that Strange New Worlds has put out.
Nobody got laid in it, Chris.
I'm sorry.
Pike didn't get laid by this woman who was genociding her own children.
God damn it.
As always, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the musical episode.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.